Hi everybody, welcome to my channel. I'm the Love Aunt, a spiritual love coach specializing in breakups and anxiety. So the topic for today, is ghosting ever acceptable? Drop me a comment below if you've ever been ghosted or if you've ghosted somebody. Tell me your experience with ghosting. So ghosting is something which seems to be on the rise, and it's a modern phenomena that's come about because of modern technology, phones, apps, social media. Nowadays, we've taken the human out of everything. We can hide behind phone screens, we don't have to take responsibility, and we don't have to deal with consequences of our actions. Now, ghosting isn't actually confined to the world of dating anymore. It's actually dripped over to the job market, which is really surprising. And even people trialing out jobs and having interviews are even getting ghosted. But it doesn't matter in what arena ghosting is done, exactly the same feeling is left on the person who's been ghosted. Let's face it, it's absolutely horrible to be ghosted by somebody. It's so confusing, and yet it's so much more than just confusing. It feels so totally disrespectful and hurtful, because it is, and it only takes a minute, as we all know, to say what needs to be said over a text or email. You know, the fact that it is so easy with technology, and we've got 100 ways that we could do it, Facebook, text, WhatsApp, email, whatever. If the person doesn't have the courage to do it face to face or on a call, modern technology, it makes it so easy to send something, to end it, without actually having to make physical contact. So the short answer is, there's no excuse for ghosting someone, and it's never acceptable. So let's look at why ghosting is done in dating. So you could be dating somebody, maybe you've even been intimate with them, and you've had way more than just one or a couple of dates. Then out of the blue, they suddenly stop replying to your messages, and when they don't text back, first of all, you think, I wonder if something bad's happened to them. And then when you find out that they're okay, the horror starts to sink in with the reality that they've ended it without actually telling you. Now, on their part, they're probably thinking a mixture of two things. One will be justifying the reason for being such a coward in their own mind. And they'll tell themselves that you weren't in a serious commitment, so they didn't owe you anything and it makes it fine. And the other thought will be along the lines of guilt and wanting to run from it. It's never pleasant to deliver somebody news that you know is going to hurt them for a moment. So for the person ghosting, it's far easier to not have to have that conversation with you. They're saving themselves the discomfort, whatever way they justify it in their mind. They might say, I didn't want to hurt them, so I avoided it by not having to do it. Well, the truth is, they still hurt somebody, but they just end up hurting them a whole lot more than if they could have just been honest and ended it properly with some closure. There is really no excuse for ghosting, because I understand sometimes when you end it with somebody, they get really angry. And if you haven't given them an explanation and you just end it, then they may demand that you tell them the reason why. But I've been that person wanting explanations in the past, and I really came to the conclusion that it's pointless to go into that at that moment, because the fact is, the person that's ending it either just doesn't want to be with you, or they've met somebody else, and either way, we've got to accept breakups with dignity and respect for ourselves and for the other person that at least was brave enough and respectful enough to end things. Now, I can understand that people don't want to deal with difficult conversations, but what I've learned is that people can usually handle and they appreciate the truth. What they can't handle is being lied to or even being ghosted. At least you've done that person the respect to be honest and treat them like a human instead of discarding them as you would a bloody object and chucking them in the bin and acting like they don't exist anymore. That is so disrespectful, and that's really bad karma also on the person that's going around treating people like that. The point is, I believe, as long as someone takes the time to at least say something along the lines that it's not working for them and they like to end things, if they then go on to say something nice like they enjoyed their time with you or, thanks for all of the nice times, then bonus. But as long as they just write one thing to end things, then in my opinion, they don't need to explain themselves further, because at least they've made an ending. Even though we might demand to know details, we don't need to know details. And we don't need to have a nasty back and forth text exchange. But just at least send one message to draw a line under a relationship with somebody. Thank you for your time. I'm done. Breakups are always tough, and a message like that is devastating to receive. I know. But at least that person's been brave enough to show you some respect. And as I said, as far as I'm concerned, that person doesn't have to say any more. Their job's done. But when we don't receive even the 30 seconds of that person's time and effort that it would take them just to send a message to end things, it's nice and easy for them. They don't have to deal with any of the consequences because they're hiding behind a phone screen and they don't have to see you again. And perhaps out of their desire not to hurt you, they end up hurting you 2 times more. It affects us to our very soul core because it's so inhumane and disrespectful on every single level. The extent of how much this will be felt will depend, of course, on how long and how deep you were into dating them. One day, you're going to feel it a lot less than if it were a week of dating or more. And if you slept with each other, and obviously this just gets worse and worse the longer it goes on, and the more intimate that you've been with them and the more that you've shared. Surely, someone that you've been intimate with deserves some kind of words of an ending. For anybody that's been recently ghosted, I can just tell you that ghosting reflects entirely on the person that's ghosted and it's nothing on you. That's a massive red flag and shows you that they don't have the skills to have any kind of a proper relationship with anybody. They're so cowardly and frankly, they've got serious issues. Do not for a second believe this has got anything to do with you and don't buy into this pathetic modern narrative that it's remotely acceptable to ghost if your relationship isn't committed or serious. If you're intimate with somebody, that person deserves some kind of communication that something has ended. Give them that respect. And the bare minimum of good behavior, surely. Ghosting is really bad karma, and don't worry because what goes around eventually does come back around. But don't wish them any ill will. Let them go and think yourself lucky they did you a massive favor in showing you who they really are and how weak they really are. You're far better off without them. We should always close things that we don't wish to continue with. It's showing respect for people as people and for their time also. Don't think just because you don't have to see them again, it means that you don't have to close it. No matter what arena it is, dating or work, always respect people, their energy and their time. And believe me, good things will always follow you. So let me know what you think about ghosting in the comments below. And as always, if you want to get my help with your own personal situation, then I offer email coaching. And the details of getting that is below in the description box. For now, thank you all so much for listening. Take care, and I'll see you again next time.